In the peaceful village of Umuoka, every day followed the same gentle rhythm. When the morning sun rose, farmers went to their farms with hoes on their shoulders. Women swept their compounds and cooked food that smelled of palm oil and pepper. Children laughed, ran barefoot, and chased chickens around the dusty paths. But when evening came, everything slowed down. As the sun began to sink behind the tall palm trees, mothers called their children home. Fires were lit. Doors were closed early. The elders always said, "When the sun sleeps, spirits walk." That evening, the sky was painted orange and red when something unusual happened. A stranger walked into Umuoka. He came from the forest path, moving slowly, like someone who knew where he was going. He was tall and thin, with dark eyes that did not blink much. His robe was brown and dusty, and his feet were bare. He carried nothing, not even a bag. Little Chibuzo, an 11-year-old boy, was the first to see him. Chibuzo had stayed too long at the stream, playing with tadpoles even though his mother warned him. As he lifted his clay pot of water, he froze. Someone was standing under the old Iroko tree near the village square. "Good evening, sir," Chibuzo said politely, as children were taught. The stranger looked down at him slowly. His eyes were sharp, but his face was calm. "Good evening, child," he replied. "Is this village called Umuoka?" "Yes, sir," Chibuzo answered. The stranger nodded. A small smile touched his lips, but it felt cold. Before Chibuzo could ask more, the village bell rang loudly, GBOM. Boom. People rushed out of their houses. The elders had been alerted. A stranger at dusk was never ignored. Soon, men and women gathered. Whispers filled the air. Who is he? Where did he come from? Why now? The village head, Ismadu, stepped forward, leaning on his carved staff. "Stranger," he said in a firm voice, "you have entered Umuoka at a strange hour. Tell us your name and your mission." The stranger bowed slightly. "My name is Kalu," he said. "I am tired from a long journey. I only ask for a place to rest for the night." The elders exchanged worried looks. Elder Noji cleared his throat. "A man who enters a village at dusk walks with shadows," he said. "You may be a blessing or a curse." Kalu lowered his head. "I mean no harm," he said calmly. After a long silence, Ismadu spoke. "We do not send a man into the night," he said. "You will stay in the empty hut near the forest, owned by Mama Ifunanya. At sunrise, we will talk again." Kalu thanked them and walked away. As he left, a cold wind swept through the village, shaking the Iroko tree even though the sky was clear. That night, dogs howled without reason. Babies cried in their sleep. And Chibuzo dreamed of a man who walked without a shadow. Umuoka had welcomed a stranger. They did not know that fear had entered with him. Sleep refused to come to Umuoka that night. Mama Ifunanya lay awake on her mat, listening carefully. The hut she had given the stranger was close to the forest, a place where even hunters avoided after dark. She heard soft footsteps. Then silence. Then footsteps again. Her heart beat fast. She whispered prayers under her breath. "This night is heavy," she murmured. In Chibuzo's house, his grandmother sat upright, holding her prayer beads. "The air smells of secrets," she said softly. Outside, the moon hid behind dark clouds. Owls cried loudly, then suddenly stopped, as if something scared them. At midnight, Kalu stepped out of the hut. He looked around slowly. The village slept. The moon came out for a moment. Kalu had no shadow. He walked toward the old shrine, the one at the edge of Umuoka. It was a sacred place, built for Amedioha, the spirit of justice and thunder. No one went there at night. Kalu entered the shrine and knelt. He spoke words no human language could explain. The shrine fire flickered by itself. I have returned, Kalu whispered. They do not remember me. Back in the village, Chibuzo woke suddenly. His heart beat fast. Something was calling him. Without knowing why, he followed the path toward the shrine. When he reached the bushes, he hid. He saw Kalu inside the shrine. Fear grabbed his chest. Suddenly, crack. A twig broke under Chibuzo's foot. Kalu turned sharply. Who is there? He asked. Chibuzo ran. Kalu did not chase him. He smiled. Morning came with bad news. 3 chickens were found dead. The river tasted bitter. Elder Noji's staff cracked without being touched. The elders gathered. This stranger walks with spirits, Elder Noji said. Ismadu nodded. We must watch him. But Kalu came smiling, helping people, carrying firewood, playing with children. Some villagers began to trust him. Only Chibuzo and his grandmother were afraid. Because evil often wears a friendly face. Days passed, and Kalu became part of Umuoka. He woke early to help farmers. He fetched water for the weak. He told stories at night that made children laugh. He is good, people said. Fear slowly turned into comfort. But strange things continued. Food disappeared at night. Nightmares troubled many people. Dogs barked at empty spaces. Chibuzo noticed one thing. Kalu never slept at midnight. One night, Chibuzo followed him again. This time, Kalu walked deep into the forest. He stopped and drew a circle on the ground. The earth shook. A dark figure rose. You took long, it hissed. I needed their trust, Kalu replied. Chibuzo gasped. Kalu turned. Our little watcher, he said calmly. Chibuzo ran faster than ever. The next morning, Chibuzo told his grandmother everything. She listened quietly. My child, she said, Kalu is not just a man. He is an intruder between worlds. She went to the elders. We must act, she warned. But the elders hesitated. That night, thunder rolled without rain. The spirits were awake. The trouble in Umuoka did not come all at once. It came slowly, like a snake moving quietly through grass. On the 7th day after Kalu arrived, the sky woke up angry. Dark clouds covered the sun even though it was still morning. The air felt heavy, and birds refused to sing. Women cooking food noticed that the firewood refused to burn well. Smoke filled their eyes, and their hearts felt uneasy. Then the river overflowed. The river of Umuoka was calm and gentle. Children played there every afternoon. But that morning, it rose suddenly like it had a mind of its own. Water rushed into farms, washing away yam ridges and cassava plants. People ran, shouting, My crops! My farm is gone. As if that was not enough, a small boy named Obina collapsed in his mother's arms. His body became cold, and his eyes would not open. No herbs worked. No prayer woke him. Fear spread through Umuoka like wildfire. The elders gathered quickly at the village square. The shrine priest, Dibia Okri, arrived wearing white chalk marks on his face. He held his staff tightly. The land is crying, Dibia Okri said. A sacred law has been broken. All eyes slowly turned toward Kalu. Kalu stood calmly among the crowd. His face showed no fear. You look at me like I caused this, he said gently. But I only came here for shelter. Elder Noji pointed his finger. You came at dusk, he said. Since then, our peace has left us. Before Kalu could reply, thunder rolled loudly, boom, but no rain fell. The shrine fire, which had burned for many years without going out, suddenly died. A loud cry rose from the people. "This is a sign," someone shouted. Ismadu raised his staff. "Enough," he said. "We will not judge blindly. But we cannot ignore the voice of the land." That night, the wind screamed like a wounded animal. Trees bent low. Roofs shook. People stayed awake, hugging their children. Chibuzo sat beside his grandmother. "The village is sick," she whispered. "And sickness has a cause." Far away, near the forest, Kalu stood alone, smiling softly. "The cause has started," he said to the night. At sunrise, the elders summoned Kalu. The whole village gathered under the old Iroko tree. Even the children were quiet. Fear had taken away their laughter. Ismadu spoke first. "Kalu," he said, "Umuoka welcomed you. But since you arrived, our land has known no peace. You must speak the truth today." Kalu looked around slowly. His eyes rested on Chibuzo for a moment, then on the elders. "You want the truth?" he asked. "Yes," the elders replied. Kalu took a deep breath. "I was born in this village," he said. Gasps filled the air. "My mother lived here. My father was an herbalist. I grew up running on this same soil." Elder Noji frowned. "No one remembers you." Kalu nodded. "That is because I was banished," he said. "Long ago." He raised his voice. "I was accused of practicing forbidden knowledge. Knowledge the elders feared. Knowledge of spirits and shadows." The people murmured. "They said I was dangerous," Kalu continued. "They drove me away at dusk, just like you wanted to do to me again." Chibuzo's grandmother stepped forward. "Some knowledge is not meant for humans," she said. "Power without wisdom destroys." Kalu laughed softly. "You took my home," he said. "Now I have come to take back what was denied me." The ground shook slightly. "I want the power of Umuoka," Kalu said. "The ancient power buried under this land." Children cried. Women covered their mouths. "You cannot have it," Ismadu shouted. "That power belongs to the ancestors." Kalu's eyes darkened. "Then I will tear it out," he said. Suddenly, the wind rushed through the square. Dust rose high. For a moment, Kalu's shadow appeared, twisted and long, not shaped like a human. The elders stepped back. "He is no longer just a man," Dibia Okori whispered. Kalu calmed himself and turned away. "You have 3 nights," he said. "Then Umuoka will bow." That night, the earth groaned. The curse had a face now. The elders met in secret. "We cannot fight Kalu with strength," Ismadu said. "His power is beyond us." Dibia Okori stroked his beard. "The spirits listen to the innocent," he said. "Only a clean heart can speak to them." All eyes slowly turned to Chibuzo. Chibuzo's heart jumped. "Me," he asked quietly. His grandmother held his hand. "You have seen the truth," she said. "The ancestors chose you." That night, Chibuzo was prepared. He fasted. He bathed with sacred water. White chalk was drawn on his forehead. Before dawn, he entered the forest alone. The forest was silent. Then a voice spoke. "Child of courage," it said. "Do not fear." Light surrounded Chibuzo. He felt warm. The intruder broke the balance, the voice continued. "Truth will seal him." "What must I do?" Chibuzo asked. "Stand firm," the spirit said. "Speak the words of truth when darkness rises." Chibuzo returned to the village changed. The elders knew. The final night was coming. The final night arrived quietly. Too quietly. No cricket sang. No frogs croaked. Even the wind held its breath. The moon hung in the sky like a watching eye, full and bright. The elders gathered everyone in the village square. Fires were lit, but the flames burned low, as if afraid. Women held their children tightly. Men stood with worry on their faces. At the center stood Chibuzo. His body trembled, but his heart was strong. Dibia Okori raised his staff. Tonight, he said, we face the darkness that entered our home. Fear must not defeat us. Suddenly, a loud laugh echoed from the forest. Kalu stepped out. His robe was now black. His eyes glowed faintly. The ground seemed to bend under his feet. You are brave to gather, Kalu said. But bravery without power is useless. Thunder roared across the sky. Fire leaped from the shrine by itself. The wind howled. Kalu. Ismadu shouted. Leave this land. Kalu laughed again. I warned you, he said. Tonight, Umuoka becomes mine. He raised his hands. The ground cracked. Dark smoke rose, forming shapes that moved and twisted. Children screamed. Women cried. Chibuzo felt fear rise in his chest. But then he remembered the voices of the ancestors. Stand firm. Speak truth. Chibuzo stepped forward. You do not belong here, he said, his small voice cutting through the noise. Kalu turned sharply. You again, he sneered. Go home, child. This is my home, Chibuzo said. You are the intruder. The fire around the shrine burned brighter. The ancestors were listening. Kalu raised his power, and flames danced wildly. The night glowed red. Chibuzo closed his eyes. He spoke the words given to him by the spirits. The ground shook harder than before. The fire changed color from red to white. Kalu screamed. What are you doing? He shouted. Speaking truth, Chibuzo replied. The earth began to pull at Kalu's feet. No. Kalu yelled. I was wrong. Pain does not give you the right to destroy, Chibuzo said. The fire roared once more. The village held its breath. Kalu struggled. Dark smoke poured from his body. The shadows around him screamed like wounded animals. You cannot erase me. Kalu shouted. I am part of this land. The earth opened wider. Chibuzo stood his ground, even as fear shook his legs. You chose darkness, he said. The land chooses light. The ancestor spoke through the wind. Balance must return. Kalu's power weakened. His eyes lost their glow. His voice became thin. This village rejected me, he cried. I only wanted what was mine. Ismadu stepped forward. You were banished for a reason, he said. Wisdom without kindness is destruction. The ground pulled harder. Kalu reached out, desperate. Help me, he screamed. But no one moved. With one final cry, the earth swallowed him. The ground closed. Silence fell. The fire died down gently. The wind softened. The moon shone calmly again. Kalu was gone. The intruder had fallen. People slowly stepped forward, amazed. It is over, someone whispered. Chibuzo collapsed to his knees. The elders rushed to him. You did well, Dibia Okri said, placing a hand on his head. Chibuzo looked up at the sky. Thank you, he whispered to the ancestors. Morning came gently to Umuoka. The sun rose warm and bright, as if nothing bad had ever happened. The river returned to its normal path. The water tasted sweet again. Crops stood upright. Leaves shone green. Little Obina, the sick child, opened his eyes. His mother cried with joy. The village gathered in celebration. Drums beat happily. Women danced. Men laughed again. Ismadu stood tall. Umuoka lives, he said. Because courage stood where fear once ruled. A great feast was prepared. Yams, soup, roasted meat, and palm wine filled the square. Chibuzo sat quietly. He did not feel proud. He felt grateful. His grandmother hugged him. You listened, she said. That is why you survived. The elders honored Chibuzo with a bracelet made of beads. This reminds us, Ismadu said, that even the smallest voice can protect a village. That night, Umuoka slept peacefully. No nightmares came. No shadows walked. The land was healed. Years passed. Chibuzo grew into a wise young man. Umuoka grew strong again. But the story was never forgotten. Elders told it by the fire at night. Children listened with wide eyes. Do not trust every smile, the elders would say. Do not ignore wisdom. Darkness often enters quietly. They remembered the stranger who came at dusk. To this day, doors still close early in Umuoka. Children still come home before sunset. And when the wind blows cold at dusk, elders say softly, remember Kalu. Because some intruders do not knock. They simply arrive.